So the next tool I'm going to use is this thing here. You can pick these up from most stores, to be honest, but if you look at it, all it is here is essentially the bottom half of a large hammer. So if needs be, and you haven't got the ability to buy one of these, just use a hammer on its end like that, as you'll see in a minute in the steak I'll show you, and you're good to go. So here we are. So far we've got the vagaries of the beginnings of a set of knuckles. Still got most of its curve. If you lay it on to a hand, it can cover most of the space, or most of that bend in the knuckle, but we're going to put a bit more of that crease back in, so it's not quite 90 degrees. What I'm going to do now is have a look how you get these top marks in across there, and I'm going to use this stake. Now, like I was saying before, you can use a hammer, which I've now moved and lost. One moment. I've rounded the top on this one quite badly. Imagine if that wasn't as round as it is, it still forms this top that I'm after here. And you can grind a bit off if you want to make it more like this, but it's not necessary. You just want this crease. What I do, resting the piece on there, start to tap down that crease. If you want to make it deeper, just lift it off of here a bit, so keep it there, off a bit. Hitting more down into the groove there now, and it will make it a bit deeper. Flip it round, same again on the other side. Do the same again across all of them. Being careful on these ends, I'll show you in a second, not to push that down too far. This one's the same movement. If you think it's a bit shallow, so you're sort of on that plane, it's a bit shallow, you want to get a bit more depth to it, take it down the end there and lift it away, and then tap it back down. Now will give you a bit more depth on that curve. And just don't work the top here too much, because that'll shallow out the curve. Flip it over, same again. Now I'm doing this by eye, and I imagine some of these lines might be a bit wonky, but you can put them in when you're creasing it up nicer later. Nice and easy that. Just get them in now. I mean, you could have started it with a mark if you wanted. I guess what I'm saying is don't worry too much if it's not quite exactly where you need it to be. You can always move it later. The inside of this one. There we go. Now when I'm doing this edge here, I don't want to push this down. I don't want it to sort of go up, scallop down, and try and come out again. So try and keep that curvature of the tool into this bit. If you mess it up by lifting it too high, here you go. I'll show you how to get past that in a moment. Same again this side. Well, I'll try not to mess it up quite so much on purpose. To get your edges over, these edges are across there, find something to support it. Anything will do, this is just handy. Just smack it over. Don't worry too much about being precise. Try and keep it more down on the ends, otherwise you'll end up with that flare I was on about before, but we've still not got to the point where we're going to tidy that up yet. And be careful not just to flatten it down there, I don't want that acting as a hinge. We need it to run off. That's vaguely where we need it to be at this stage. So I'll do the other end, and then we'll do these little counter creases, or whatever they're called in there, the little flutes that we've got inside there. So we've got those edges round now, and remember I said I'd messed this bit up on purpose. You can see how it's a bit sharp. It's nice and shallow off of this one, and it's a bit sort of almost concave there. What you do is flip it over into a bit of wood, show you in a sec, and just give it a knock with a ball peen from behind, and that will lift that shape back out. Fetch yourself a nice round ball peen. There's a little divot in this wood here. And just push it around, you'll start to lift that out. You might push other bits around, but don't sweat it, we'll move that around in a moment. But I've lifted that concave out of there now. Right, let's get these bits in, and then we're done on the roughing out, and we get to the tidying up in the next film. So the important thing to remember with this is we're just roughing out. The next one will tidy it up. Okay, I've got my sharper edge of my anvil. If you remember, I've got a really sharp edge here, slightly sharp, not so sharp, but rounded edge here, and a nice rounded edge here. So I can use this tool for just about everything. So you get a lovely return weight, all that good stuff. What I do, take a marker pen and draw in where I want these creases to be. You sometimes get a bit lost when you're hammering, so it just gives you something to aim for. What I've taken, you can pick these sorts of hammers up second hand from places for a couple of pence. They've normally got two flat edges like this. What I've done on one edge, poorly I've just discovered, is round it a little bit so that it gets into these spaces. You don't need to do it like that. You can use the one I used right at the beginning. It just tends to have to think more about whether you're going to flatten it or not. You can even, if you're gentle, use the chisel edge of a hammer like this and just work it in there. But that's why I made this one, because it's easiest of them all and I don't have to think quite so much. So don't take it to where you want the metalwork to be, take it just beyond it. Like I say, on so many of these things, and you'll start that curvature, so that's where it kind of lies flat. Take it just beyond that and just start tapping on the inside. Going gently, not going hard at this, just gently. Flip it round, do the other side. Not working through here in the middle, staying off the edge. That starts to give us that light catch and crease on the inside there and tidies things up nicely. So again, there we go, roughed out pretty quickly. I think without me talking and going on like that, it takes about 15 minutes or so. So if you mess it up, it's no great shakes, just start again. Probably the other way around. There we go, but you can see how it's beginning to take on that shape. I want to pull it down a little bit more, but I'll show you that on the next one in the tidying up. But there's how I can quickly rough out a knuckle shape, beginnings of a Gothic knuckle, in about 15 minutes. It's not too difficult. In the second part then, I'll show you how to tidy this up, clean it up, and get it ready for polishing and fixing.